Hello, and thanks for joining me today on another live session. Today, we are going to be speaking to a special guest. So, I'll give it a few moments for all the live streams to kick off today, and we can get straight into the topic. I think you will enjoy today's one because it's mainly around it's the new year. Everybody's thinking about YouTube channels, podcast channels. So, we're going to touch a lot about creating content here, and we're going to speak about why it's not too late to start a YouTube channel. And also, should you actually start a YouTube channel? So let's have a look at that today, shall we? Hello, and thanks for joining me on today's episode, Working for Yourself, ZophTalks.com. The podcast is powered by TrustedCreators.org. I am Zoph. Hello, and welcome to the show. In this episode, I speak to an ex-YouTuber. Yeah, you heard that right. He's an ex-YouTuber. He's a former professional basketball player turned entrepreneur, and he does a lot of online content creation. He's made a few decisions to do something a little bit different than a normal conventional YouTuber. We're going to speak to him today about his journey. We're going to discuss how maybe we can take some learnings from what he's done and what he's doing now to see if we can improve our lives working for ourselves. He currently runs a video editing company through his startup called VidChops. Augie Johnston, hello and welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on the show. It's going to be fun.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a nice conversation we can have today to basically pick your brains and find out how you started, what you do now, and how you led up to this journey. Also sprinkled with a bit of knowledge from yourself because you've been an ex-YouTuber. Can you speak to me about why you no longer call yourself a YouTuber maybe and why it's an X thing that you used to do?
Yeah, because I really was a content creator for 4 or 5 years where I uploaded a video on YouTube once a week and did not miss a week. So I was on the grind and now I'm not doing that. I'm not uploading once a week. Although, I do upload videos still and make podcasts and do stuff like that. I'm just not fully dedicated to that. I'm more in the CEO type role and entrepreneurial role. But I tell my friends all the time, I should be creating more content. Why don't I have that 2 a week going right now? But, I'm going to get back into it, but that's why.
That's very interesting. I think a lot of people have this journey where they'll start something up, they'll work on it themselves, and then slowly they think about how can I upscale this? So for example, from our point of view, our audience listening today, they'll have the mindset of creating businesses, creating a team around you, which can continue on with the legacy if it's profitable for you and you enjoy doing it. So the key thing we like to talk about is if you liked creating videos, would you have done it in a different way? Would you have thought about maybe hiring some people to help you to carry that on, or was the decision because you wanted to do something else?
It basically, as a content creator, I always had a entrepreneurial marketer kind of mindset, and I was looking for pain points, basically, or not looking for them, but I felt them, right? I did feel the pain points of being a content creator, and one of them was editing. So that's what I kind of started VidChops as a video editing company and trying to solve that pain for YouTubers and content creators. And the reason I stopped was basically because I just went to overdrive over there. I just couldn't split my time in between what my content creation was actually basketball training tutorials. And, we'll talk later about how I even got into this YouTube thing. This is back in like 2009. And it's just, when you see the whole journey, you'll understand that basically what you want to do once you kind of have a little success online is kind of parlay that into the next thing, and you can see with all these people that make money online, it's not their first thing that they do that actually gets them to that next level where they're working for themselves, or even more so, like, starting a legitimate 7-figure business, so just got to parlay into the next thing. And that's kind of where my mind was at. And that's when I kind of stopped uploading. But yeah, I do wish I would have hired editors and stuff a little bit more, but we'll learn why I didn't, I guess, in a little bit.
That's very good to hear, I think, because it's refreshing to hear when you start something new, it may not go in the direction you want it to go. And also it's a good learning journey. So anybody listening today, if you've had an idea, the main thing is action something off the back of it. As long as you've made a few videos, you've tried it, you can say, okay, actually, you know what, it's not what I thought, maybe I need to do something else. So it's good to hear your experience was such an experience that you've decided to maybe look at a different route.
Yeah, and I will say too that I was able to grow a channel to 200,000 subscribers, and this was this was my first time being able to make a full-time income and work for myself was as a YouTuber, and that's where I kind of caught the bug, and now it's one of my goals in life. Anyway, sorry to cut you off. Go for it.
That's good. So would you say you were successful becoming a YouTuber?
Yeah, yeah. I would say no. I never reached my full goals that I ever wanted to, but for what I was doing at the time, yeah.
It's hard to measure though, because success
It is.
looks like very difficult because YouTube, it's constantly striving. You can have a few thousand, which slowly build up, and 200,000 is a healthy number. But when you see other channels doing extremely well, you can compare sometimes with those. It's not a great place to be. You always do your own journey like you're doing, which is great. But you can't help but wonder with this type of journey, it's never really going to get anywhere because there's millions, there's billions, there's loads of things going on out there.
Yeah, totally. And that was another very, very important factor, not just parlayed into VidChops, but the fact that I wasn't seeing that growth. And we're staring at our numbers and we're staring at our views. And when you see that plateau, that multiple year plateau, it was like, do I really want to do this? And there's a lot of things that changed on YouTube and the algorithm, and just with me and my situation, it was hard for me to adapt. And with all the changes of social media, you guys, I mean, if you're listening to this right now and you want to be a content creator or just be a digital marketer, these things are changing so fast. I mean, 1 year ago, who was making shorts on YouTube? These short content, now that's a major part of most people's strategies. But yeah, I mean, my goal was to make, millions and millions of dollars with Baller Boot Camp, this basketball training company, because it was a company. It was, I mean, we'll talk more about it. I keep kind of leaving these cliffhangers, but I entered that YouTube channel. I started making those videos with a business mindset, like straight up. Like the very first video, there was a call to action to go to a website and enter your email for the free workout. I was doing some marketing tactics, but you got to remember, I've been online since 2009. And it wasn't until even 2013 maybe that I started this YouTube channel. So there was 4 years there where I was just kind of doing all kinds of stuff and really learning the game. And then that's how I was able to, for my very first video, start this business and basically launch this business, get traffic and get leads.
What type of time scale do you think is reasonable for learning? So for example, from 2009 to 2013, that's not a long time to learn as much as you've learned.
That's a long time, man. So let's get into the story a little bit now, because at this time I had just got out of college. I was living in Europe, playing basketball, and I was in Germany. The TV was in German. Everything's dubbed over. So this is, pretty new. I think YouTube started 2006, 2009. I'm going on YouTube trying to just use that as my TV. And it was way different back then. And so that's kind of where my YouTube journey began, is right there. And so then I'm like, well, I'm playing professionally, not getting paid a lot, right? And not making a ton of money, but I want to do this forever, right? I'm a basketball player. Like, as you know, it's part of my story with the Baller Boot Camp. Yep. And how can I do it? Well, what if I could make money online? What if I could, start a business? What if I could work remotely? My wife started teaching English online. And this is very, back in the day. And then I made that Google search, how to make money online, took me down this rabbit hole. Then I started learning 4 years, and I was spending all day learning. I had so much time there.
At that point, was that the main thing you were concentrating on, or did you also have another job that was keeping you going?
No, just basketball, and then, 2 practices a day, maybe a game. And then I was online, basically learning, Googling, trying to figure out how to make money on YouTube online. Yeah.
So at that point, were you also studying? Was that basketball more of like a leisure activity? So you weren't making any money to live off at the time, or were you living with family?
Oh, I got paid to play basketball. It just wasn't a lot. Yeah, it just wasn't like a ton of money. And I was like, well, is this sustainable for the long term? Because I want to play 10, 20 years. Like, I love this. And that's what kind of motivated me. And I just kind of came to this realization the other day. I was like, how did I even get started in all this? And I was looking back and I was like, that's how I wanted to play basketball for not much money in Europe and be able to do it by supporting myself through other means. And I was learning, failing. And then 2013, baller boot camp. There we go.
Okay, so we can relate with that because working for yourself, a lot of people listening will be working a 9 to 5 job and then trying to do something alongside it. So in a way, that's your type of story where you were doing basketball, but then you needed another source of income. So you're kind of juggling a few things. At that time, 4 years, you would say that's more part-time that you were learning the skills for YouTube then because you were also playing basketball at the same time. Did you dedicate enough time for your learning of YouTube?
Yeah. I definitely think I did. I was, even at that time, starting to upload some videos. I started a channel that was just me working out, just kind of filming my workouts and stuff. And there wasn't a business behind it. I was just, that's how I kind of started dabbling, and I got some subscribers and I got actually a comment from a really famous person in the basketball world called The Professor. If you don't watch basketball, you never heard of him, but he's a street ball legend, basically. And he even commented on my videos when they were just me working out, not saying a word. Now, then when I went back years later to relaunch it, I had the YouTube style. What's up, guys? Augie Johnson here, ballerbootcamp.com in today's video. And face the camera, a lot of changes. That right there shows that I did learn, right? I went from just hit record, now I'm working out, not speaking, to hit that subscribe button. Let's go.
So what led you to that journey? Because sometimes when people are on this journey, a big factor is a confidence to be able to express themselves. It seems like that came to you naturally, or did you have a bit of a journey where you were able to come on camera and speak so confidently?
Yeah. Throughout all those years before I launched it, there was one time when I was going to do a partnership with a guy who had a YouTube channel who, taught vertical leap, kind of some basketball related stuff. I was going to come in and be the basketball side. It didn't end up working out. But one thing that I did learn from him is that it's important how you are on camera. And that just stuck with me, because he was like asking me like, well, how are you on camera, before he actually knew, because I didn't really have videos up of me talking and stuff. He's like, that was the one thing he cared about. And so I took that with me and I was like, all right, I got to bring the energy, now I have this whole philosophy is you got to have some energy. I mean, come on now,
That's interesting now. So it depends on what topic you speak about, because some people will have their ideal topic. So if they have a topic, they could just speak about it very confidently, and that kind of brings them forward in that. So if you're listening today, as long as you've got a passion, or you've started working for yourself, or you're maybe doing selling online or video creation, if you can confidently speak about it, it will come across when people are watching, and if you're genuine about it. So that's really good to hear that. In terms of your journey now, so what would be your ideal working for yourself job? If you could leave what you're doing now, are you happy doing what you're doing, or would you like to do something else?
No, I'm happy doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
How long has it been in total now then? How many years would you say it's been? Is it since the 2013?
Oh, no, it hasn't been, because there was a time there when when I first launched VidChops, I had kind of given up on the YouTube stuff. Actually, at that time, I had not given up on it, right? This is more, now it's been 4 years since I've uploaded or something like that. So at this point, I know I've given up. Like I have to say that, although I do still want to come back. But, I still want to create some basketball training content. I'm a basketball coach currently as well. Yeah, I mean, what was the question again? I forgot that.
Yeah, so the main factor here is I'm looking to find a journey of, because a lot of people are undecisive about what they want to do. So during this time period, have you stuck with the same kind of idea you're sticking with, or have you had loads of changes?
Right. So I got a job. So when I first launched VidChops, it was definitely in startup phase, right? And I went full time into VidChops, spent probably, a year, 6 months on it. And then I was like, I need to get a job. I had a kid on the way. I was living back in the States now for a few years. It wasn't, I played basketball for a long time. So when I moved back, I had, a year or two, and then I was like, what am I going to do next? And I became a teacher. And this is the most hectic time of my life, because VidChops, I was like, I'm going to sell it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't have enough time now. I got to focus on teaching. This is when I became a basketball coach. And part of the reason I wanted to teach too is because I wanted to be a coach. And I know that would help me get a coaching job. But I did that and I ran VidChops, and VidChops just continued to grow. It kind of forced me to build a really good team, a big team, right? I was able to delegate a little bit, and then I eventually was like, okay, I need to focus on VidChops. This is a big thing now, and I had to quit that job and then just been doing this, running VidChops.
Okay, so during your life, how do you prioritize what you're going to work on? You spoke briefly there, VidChops did well, and you focused in on that. At that time, did you have any other? Because as creators, we always have a few things we're juggling, like ideas that we want to do this, we want to do that. So we might have multiple things we're working on. How do you decide what to focus in on?
That's hard. It really is hard. I do jump around a little bit, but I was ultra focused on Baller Bootcamp, the YouTube channel, for 4 or 5 years. I mean, ultra focused. Everything I was doing was trying to build that up. And then VidChops, I would say the same. At least 4 or 5 solid years. And now I'm kind of to the point after 4 or 5, it's been, over 5 years now, that I'm jumping around a little bit. But I like to think that what I'm doing is, it's all kind of in this video creator world. And so I think it is, ties into VidChops in a way and stuff. But this is what I enjoy. Like, I love YouTube so much. I love the algorithm stuff. I love talking about it, all that kind of stuff. So yeah. So, and I do jump around a little bit, but I'm trying to stay focused in this video creator world.
Yeah, I like what you mentioned there, because in a way, being in that same field of video creation, you're actually creating extra branches for yourself. So you've got a diversity of things that you can look at. A lot of us, during working for ourselves, we will try to do that because you don't want to put your eggs in one basket. So because you've got a few things, hopefully that keeps you going along for the next idea, because it's very difficult to have one idea and well, some people do it, but it's having 2 or 3 ideas that are all at a similar level. You'll have extra ways of maybe putting your energy, because some days you might feel like X job, you might feel you want to do a bit more content creation, you might want to write some days you might want to do editing. You talked a little bit about your team there. How did you build up your team, and at what point did you think, okay, now I need more people to help me?
Pretty quickly. The way I got interested in VidChops was, I guess the way I got the idea for VidChops, part of it, there's a lot of factors when you really think about it, but one of them was a book, The 7-Day Startup by Dan Norris. And it's a great book. And he talks about, starting a business in 7 days, a startup, and it's a productized service, which is where you take a service and you turn it into a product. So you handle everything for them. It's kind of done for you in a way. And his was for WordPress support for WordPress websites. And I saw another company come out that did it for graphic design. And I actually wanted to do it for graphic design first. That's the first idea that came to me. I bought the domain name Minute Graphics or something like that. And then I never did it. I didn't do it. I was ultra focused on Baller Bootcamp. And anyways, I saw that other company grow, and then I was like, you know what? Let me start with my personal videos, developing this outsourcing system, building my team there. And then I built a small team, very small team. And then when I launched VidChops, I was doing it all myself, kind of same thing. I had a little small team. But then when I started working, I said, okay, we need like a, marketing director, operations manager. We need, this is kind of version, I guess, 2 of what VidChops became. And there's been other, iterations too. And it's kind of the way it works. We're just always looking to get better.
That's interesting. So during this time, when you start getting growth, it can be quite tricky to find out what route you're going to go with the team. As in, some people like to keep it nice and close, 2 or 3 people working on it. Some people like to go down the corporate route. What led you to set up the team in the way you did?
Just kind of knowing what we need. We need leads. We need, new customers. I try and help with that as much as I can, and I do. That's a huge part of me, what I do too, right? Especially with creating content and stuff. That's marketing, right? So I knew I needed to hire for that, and it just everything just kind of fell in place. And to be honest, like I just kind of got lucky and hired some people, and they're just all like the ones that I hired for these positions that were just really solid, and just got lucky with that, man. Honestly,
That's really good, because the main thing
yeah,
is getting the right people, because at the moment,
yeah.
the skills you want, when you hire for it, it can be quite tricky to fulfill the position with them being able to deliver from what you wanted. So it sounds like you got very lucky with the right team around you.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I just put out for these positions. Like a lot of it was from internal, and I guess that helps you get lucky, right? So we already had a team, right? And
Okay.
so I took one video editor and made him a marketing director, because that really was his specialty. He wasn't really a video editor. He just really was excited about VidChops, right? And he's excited about VidChops. Let this guy, this guy who's editing for us, who is more of a really good marketer. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, he worked out great. So yeah, that is just kind of everything. I guess that's a tip for anybody that's listening right now. If you do have a small team and you want to, build another team over here, hiring internally has worked great for us.
Yes. And also because they've already followed you with the journey, so they'll have a good idea of where you're taking the business. That sounds great. You talk a bit about starting a business in 7 days on your YouTube channel. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you came up with that and why you think 7 days is enough?
Yeah. So, I mean, to start a business nowadays, like that statement holds so much weight. It's such a claim, bold claim, but nowadays it's possible with internet businesses. I mean, you hear people all the time talk about pre-launch, right? So, okay, just right there, knowing that you can pre-launch anything, you could start a business in 7 days. If you can build a website in 7 days that is connected to Stripe, which is super easy, and you can collect payments, and you can pre-launch. Okay, so there's one thing, you can pre-launch. But even in not pre-launching, you could offer a service. Services can be, you only need one person to deliver a service. And there's so many services out there. You can't probably offer plumbing services because that's more local, right? That you have to be there. But what about all these remote jobs nowadays? People working remote. If you have a job and you're working remote, you have a skill set that you could probably start a business doing whatever you're doing remotely for them as a service for others. And then you hire out. So there you go. 7 days, get it up, get an ad. Can you shoot 2 ads in a day? Which this isn't as easy as it sounds to do right and do very, very well. Because to write an ad, you need to write a good ad, But there's your answer right there.
Yeah, because I think if you've already got an idea and you know what you're doing and you want to set up a business, that would be probably easier, because okay, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm selling, this is my end customer. 7 days, set up the company, set up the website, start selling. If you're in a boat where you're not sure, then that's where the time comes in, because you need to lock down what it is you want to sell, who you're selling to, what your customer is, having the workflow. So there's a few ways of doing this, but I think it is possible, because I was able to set up my company in about 4 days, I think, because I already knew what I wanted. I just needed to make it a company. So it is possible. We talk a lot about that on Working for Yourself, the podcast. If you listen to season 12, that's basically my breakdown of why I ended up setting up a company and talking about content creation. So you'll find some of that useful, especially around this area. It is doable as long as you know where you're going. Now,
I would say one thing about that is, I don't know your full history, but you guys heard a little bit about me and how long I've been learning this stuff. So yes, you and I can probably do 4 days, 7 days. If you're a beginner, you're going to have to go learn, and you're going to have to figure out. It's just hard because there's just so much, but you're going to have to figure out how to do kind of what we talked about earlier, be ultra focused on learning what you need to learn, and that's it. And then you can take action.
Definitely. And if you're listening to this, you're already on the journey, because during these seasons, we've spoke a lot about how you should hone your skills, find out what your passion is. Ideally, during my journey, I've found what I enjoy doing, I'm more happy to do that as a job. And I've been doing it for about 15 years now, and it's slowly built up. So I think you probably have a similar area where you know what you like doing and you could do it for a long period of time, and making that into a hobby, into a job. That's where you decide. And through this, we've been looking at different ways of how you can turn a hobby into a career, or maybe finding a passion that would work for you. So if you're learning, channels like yourself and my channels will help you kind of get the journey from our point of view, which then you can use to help you along this journey as well. So it's very valuable hearing stories of other people that have done it, how they've done it, what they found useful, and then you can tailor that to yourself. So it is a tough journey. If you're quite young, you'll be okay. We're nearly hitting 36 now. I think, are you the same as me? You're 36, are you?
Yeah.
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 So it took us a while, but as we've slowly built up, we've learned a little bit. We're like, oh yeah, you know what? I like doing that. Maybe I'll do a little bit more concentration on that. I'm not so keen on that, so I won't do that anymore. But when you get a company, you can just hire someone to do what you don't like, who's actually good at it. So there's pros and cons, but as long as you've got a solid idea, that's the key thing that will stick with you throughout your journey, as it were. And talking a little bit about here, you mentioned in your 7-day business one, there's a little bit about looking at businesses, and you can buy businesses and then carry that on. How much of that have you looked at in your career? And do you think that's like a viable way of doing it? Basically buying another business that was already started up?
Oh man, I've been looking into that for years, forever. Oh, I've been just stalking flippa.com, and there's a ton of them, and I'm on all the newsletters. So it's just I'm pretty conservative. I don't take super huge swings, as far as that kind of stuff goes. I try to, at least not, I try to treat maybe once per year, but yeah. And I just want to find a way to just find one that really fits at what I'm looking for too. And I always feel like there's something that I don't like, but yeah. So I think that's a great idea. I think, it's kind of a little bit of a trend right now, but if you have the chops, and like I'm saying, if you've learned it, don't just be a random person and do this, but like you and I have studied the game. Like I could take a company, I think, and do SEO on it. I could do video marketing for it. We could do newsletter stuff for the company. I'm talking about improving all these different channels, and maybe improve the business and make some money off it. So I do think it's a good idea, but risky.
Yes. Would you prefer getting a company that already has a brand name set up, or would you just set up your own company? Would it involve the same amount of work if you set it up from scratch?
And that's the thing that I did. Actually, I did talk about jumping around. I jumped around a little bit. I have started another company that isn't in the video creator space. And it's just been challenging. It's been challenging. And I just, yeah, I don't know. I forgot. I can't remember the question was on that one too. Sorry.
That's right. Do you reckon it's more harder to start a YouTube channel or harder to start a business?
Oh, okay. I understood that wrong. I think it's harder to start a business. YouTube channel's easy. You can get up and running on YouTube and learn the algorithm even very quickly. And I guess I can do you want me to just break the algorithm down in 3 steps?
Go for it.
Okay. The first thing is click-through rate. So click-through rate really matters on YouTube videos. And that's why you need 3 things that matter at click-through rate is, number 1, topic. So the topic of that video, if it's super interesting, that helps. Thumbnail. The thumbnail image is highly clickable. That helps. And then the title, and the title can kind of play off the thumbnail and, well, what should my title and thumbnail be? Well, just create curiosity. If you can create some curiosity, that'll get the click. There you go. That's number 1, click-through rate. Number 2, average view duration or watch time. So let's just say average view duration. How long are people watching the video? If it's a 10-minute video and someone watches 5 minutes, the 50% average view duration. Most YouTube videos are like 6 to 10 minutes or 8 to 10 minutes. If your video's in that range, 40% is pretty solid, 50% is good, and anything above that, you've given your video a real good chance to get promoted by the YouTube algorithm. And then I would say the last thing is, I'm kind of blanking on the one off the top of my head, but I think it's watch time. It's just overall watch time, basically, for the video, for your channel, right? So if your whole channel can kind of build authority by having a lot of watch time, and that's just the total minutes. Okay, the total minutes. watched on a video and then on your channel.
Okay, the challenge comes if you're passionate about making videos for a certain topic to match up all the requirements for the video to do well. The video is no longer what you wanted to make. So that's a very tricky area because a lot of people make videos because they're passionate about something and they want to get it out. But if they start tailoring that video to get really good views, does it dilute what they want to offer? What do you feel about that?
Well, I do think that you do have to play to the algorithm. You do have to water your stuff down if you have to. If you are looking for that promotion from the algorithm, right? We're talking about recommended, suggested views, right? Where the algorithm literally says, oh, somebody, you've watched this video is similar. It's kind of the best video that's similar to that one out of all the others due to the click-through rate and watch time. Here, do you want to click it? And then that's how you kind of start getting that ball rolling. But you know what? There's so many people that you don't have to do that, I guess. But like, think about somebody like Gary V, right? He's a great example because for the most part, he's being himself. I don't think he's trying to go out there and trigger the algorithm, but you know, he's using all best practices. Obviously, they're having good thumbnails, titles, all that kind of stuff. But he's not sitting down and writing a script like, here's how to make $10,000 in 10 days. He's just kind of documenting.
That will do quite well on YouTube. I can imagine people clicking on that. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, you know, from my understanding and my strategy, it is, you know, like you just mentioned that one video, how to start a business in 7 days or something like that. So, you know, it's kind of part of the game in a way too, is like understanding it and kind of just making YouTube content. Like look around on YouTube. What is Mr. Beast, the best YouTuber with the most subs now? What does his titles look like? You know, it's pretty out there.
Mm-hmm. So do you reckon if someone's thinking about this topic now, should they invest in maybe creating a YouTube channel, or would that time and effort be better invested in something else?
Well, I think if you're going to start a YouTube channel, then it should be related to a business. So whether you're going to start a business with that YouTube channel, then great. Or if you already have a business, then I would say try to think about how you can start a YouTube channel that's going to be, you know, used as a marketing tool for that business to bring in, you know, your target audience. So you have to have that defined, and then you want to kind of create content that your target audience would love, right? That they would click on. Then now they're seeing your videos, and then you have their attention, and you can monetize attention.
I think some of the barriers there can be also the requirement for subscribers and watch time. A lot of people tend to give up before they even reach that goal. So what leads you to motivate yourself to carry on when you think you're not getting the return that you expected?
Yeah, I think you can't just fall in love with the numbers. Like if you're a basketball player, if all you care about is the points you score or the rebounds you get, and you don't care about the winning part, then you're not a great player. So you got to kind of get away from the numbers and just think about how can you improve with each video. And I'm starting to hear people speak about this more because it truly is the way. Because if you can just improve and learn YouTube with each video, eventually you will start to see growth because you're going to get to a point where you're good. You're really good. But if you're just going to stick around and do the same stuff over and over, and you're 200 videos in and you're not seeing the growth, then you're not doing what I just said. You're not looking to improve. Because I'm not just talking about camera and audio. I'm talking about YouTube. You have to improve at YouTube. And so like that's why my answer was what it was earlier. Like, do you have to play into that? Yeah, you do. Because if you're just cut and dry and it's not working, you need to kind of look at, you know, how can you be entertaining, man? Come on.
Yeah, I think that's great that you mentioned that, because I see regular comments with these same questions, which is I'm posing them to a lot of my guests I've had on just to get a different perspective. And it seems to be the same answer. So if you're listening to this and you had this question, you've heard it from multiple guests on season 11 where we talked about this. I think you're guest number 27 now. So everybody's giving us a similar answer. If you're passionate about it, you're bringing energy to it. And if people want to watch it, you'll do well. If it's something you wouldn't watch yourself, then there's no point in making it. It's a very tricky area. Bringing it back to something that you're currently looking at now and more around your story. So VidChops, what's the story of that in terms of the production process? How does that look like, and how can people start using this to their advantage?
Yeah, so like I said, it's a productized service. So we've basically done all the work as far as managing, hiring, training, you know, quality checking. We have meetings, all this kind of stuff. But it's evolved, like I said, and gotten better over the years. And everyone's on a team, and we offer 2-day delivery time. So we've really kind of that kind of it's fast. Back in the day, like 2-day delivery time is kind of crazy. Like, before all this online video boom, I don't, a lot of weddings, people would film weddings and you have like a 7-day turnaround time. I mean, weddings are pretty big, but anyways, we just make it easy for anybody. I mean, sometimes we have digital marketers that sign up and use us for their clients. Sometimes it's just straight YouTuber content creators. And yeah, we love editing, and just it's been a fun journey.
That sounds really good. I saw Brian G. Johnson on that screen. It gave you a little sparkling review as well. So hoping his poodles are doing well.
Yeah, Brian G. Johnson's a great guy. I've spoken to him a few times. I've really enjoyed just kind of getting to interact with some people that I really looked up to as a video creator, right? Like I said, I was learning the game from people that I'm now talking with. I mean, that's crazy. It really is crazy to me. And I guess I just don't appreciate that enough. I just kind of, you just bringing that up just kind of, made me a little emotional there. Like, wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's amazing how you can, once you start creating and you speak to different people, a lot of our minds are similar. It's just we're at different levels of the game. So we're all thinking on that one day you'll be there as well. So it'll be really good to see that. Now, if we bring this back a little bit, I want to put this into perspective for our listeners. So say, for example, I've got a company YouTube channel. I want to get content created. I want to make more videos made. I've got all the ideas. Where do you fit in with VidChops, just to make it a straightforward? So do you go in and make videos for me which I can share on my channel, or how does the actual gubbins of it work?
Yeah, so you do the recording on your end.
Yeah.
You record your video. It's the raw footage.
Yeah.
What I recommend for anybody that's like, I'm getting hyped up, I'm gonna make a video.
Yeah.
Just have an outline, get your camera set up, hit record, and understand that you can make mistakes. So look down at your notes, at your outline, just look down at them. And then think of something, think, spend time. It's okay, let it run. And then look up at the camera and try to nail it. If you make a mistake, just start back up where you made that mistake. It can be mid-sentence, it doesn't matter. Start back up right there, finish your thought, look down at your paper, and just do that. Then our editors, or any editor, can come in there and jump cut that and kind of cut it up. And that's the beauty of YouTube, is these are all free videos people are creating. It's all user-generated content. Most people are editing themselves. They're not editors. So jump cuts are acceptable. And a jump cut is just kind of like you see on YouTube, where someone's talking and they just kind of, there's a lot of cuts. It's because they're, doing what I just said. And it's a really easy and great way to just kind of record videos.
Okay, so then that would mean I would make my video, I will send that into your team.
Yeah.
They'll edit that all up and make into a fancy 5-6 minute video. Does that include things like music, overlays, all the things, or is that something you would normally ask the creator?
Yeah, so it includes stock footage, royalty-free music. It is the complete edit, right? So we do more than just jump cut it. We'll do the full edit, send it back to you in 2 days, and then you can ask for revisions. And revisions take 1 day. And yeah, we use, motion graphics, we use all kinds of stuff. And, our goal is to always do better than what you did before, and kind of like overachieve and try to make just really good edits.
So in terms of pricing, how much can I expect to pay for if I wanted a video edited? Is it based on individual needs, or do you have a set price structure?
Yeah, so we try to kind of follow the YouTube content release schedules, basically. So we have a plan that's 4 videos a month. That would be like a weekly plan, and that's $325. So it's affordable, it's affordable. And then we also have a plan that's 8 to 12 videos a month, kind of depending on the number of revisions and stuff. But we can get you 8, and that's 2 days a week, right? And sometimes 12. And then we also have a plan that's 16 to 20 videos a month. And that plan is about $1,000 a month. And you're getting a ton of edits there. That's a full-time content creator. And we've seen clients come in that were like weekly releasers who jumped into double chops, which is the 20 a month, and they'll do, 16 to 20 a month, and just boom, their views just go boom because there's just so much content coming out.
Okay. So that sounds really interesting. Does that include the video, the thumbnail, the descriptions, or is that a separate service?
Yeah, that's a separate service that we do offer, though, where we do the thumbnail, title, tags, description, upload, get it all set up for you. So essentially, we can be a done-for-you YouTube service where all you do is record your footage, like I said, and then send it to us. Create a project where you just complete a short form or ask you a couple questions for just any information you want to send us on that video. And then that's it.
That sounds really good, I think. So anybody listening right now, if you've got your channels up and running and you're maybe struggling with the team around you in terms of editing, then you need to reach out. I'll put show notes in the information so you can actually go to the website directly, VidChops, and you can get a bit more information. But you had a little bit of an overview there in terms of price structure, and that's not a lot of money looking at the basic 4 videos option. So that's quite a good option there for you to think about. Hopefully this episode has brought you some value today, and you can check out all the show notes and sign up to the newsletter at zoftalks.com. Is there anything else you want to add today, Augie?
No, that was it. Thanks for having me on. That was a fun conversation. Hopefully I was able to give some advice, and thanks for everybody for listening.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think having these real life stories really help our listeners, because we can hear what your journey was, and every little bit helps us just to get a little bit closer. So it's really nice of you to share your journey with us today. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.